Well, well, well. We meet again. Hello, everybody. How you doing today? I just thought I'd come on here and just chat about nothing in particular except HRCYED 3.0 is coming to ya! This year, we've gone all out. I see your responses to 2.0. I've seen it all. I've seen people taking it on. I've seen people making it their own. I've seen people succeed and some fail. I have seen it. And by it, I mean all of your videos and all of your reactions and all of your TikToks and all those things. And with that, it got me to thinking about, what do we want from HRCYED 3.0? What do the people wish for? And it seems to me that this year's theme shall be none other than customization. That's right. This year, HRCYED 3.0 is designed for you to make it whatever the heck you want, but still being the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. And for those of you new here, hi, buckle up. So we, instead of just having like, here's HRCYED, here's the rules, we have 4 different versions. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. And we're going to go over those right here, right now. The very first is, of course, the basic no-nonsense version. This is traditional HRCYED in all its glory. The standard, every book can count towards 2 squares. We have rereads, but instead of rereads being 10 years or older, I have allowed for 5 years or older, but otherwise that you cannot use rereads, and we still cannot use DNFs. If you DNF the book, it doesn't count for HRCYED, okay? You can still DNF to your heart's desire in your own reading time, but not here for HRCYED. Also, apologies if you hear a crunching sound. Someone decided immediately to pick up a yak chew while doing this. Anyway, that's it. Simple, regular, no-nonsense version. Then, we've had people complain it's too hard, I'm too busy, and that's okay. I'm going to allow you to have the Ain't Nobody Got Time for That version. In this version, you just need to read 1 book per prompt, okay? If you complete it, then see how far you can go, okay? Still, DNFs do not count. Rereads, same, no more, or no earlier than 5 years prior, and that's it. So if you are like, I'm too busy for this, but I still want to participate, it's okay. You can do the Ain't Nobody Got Time for That version. Then we also brought in a bunch of kids this year. We have a lot of the youths participating. So HRCYED 3.0 has an official kids version. And as we go through the prompts, I will show you the differences between the regular version and then the kids version of it. For the kids, it is a 1 book per prompt, but they're all organized very similarly and have similar themes, but might be slightly adjusted for the kids version. But same thing, no DNFing, kids. And if you need a reread, you can reread. As always, we try to avoid anything from She Who Will Not Be Named because we don't want to support her in any way at all. And just don't submit books with that name on it, and I'm much happier. Then, our final version, we have the gamified dice rolling of epicness version. You're going to need a 6-sided die, just a regular, silly old 6-sided die, and you are going to roll for difficulty in the prompts. So, if you roll a 1, it must be from authors you've never read from before. If you roll a 2, it must be a book written by a non-white author. And by non-white author, I mostly mean a white American, white English person, because most of publishing is predominantly overtaken by white authors. So this is your chance to read outside of that. They can be indigenous, yes, absolutely. Depending on where they're from, if it's like, oh, but these people are still like considered a marginalized community, but their skin tone is white. Yes, that can work. What we're just trying to get away from is the big mainstream over dominance of the publishing industry. That's the spirit of HRCYED, okay? For rolling a 3, the author or protagonist must be a disabled author or an uncommon one. So this is where you could read books featuring fat protagonists. As I wanted, they're not disabled necessarily, but they're uncommon. So things of that nature, as long as they're not just the cookie cutter, this is the, the standard person, any of that. It can be the author, it can be the protagonist, and that is okay. If you roll a 4, the author or the overall story must surround queer authors. Anybody in the LGBTQIA+ community. It can be the author, it can be the preferably protagonist, or a heavy theme surrounding queer themes, okay? If you roll a 5, it must be a self-published author. Yeah, we love the indie world here, and I want them to be self-published. I'm okay if it's a very small, like, independent press or anything, but I want you to start, look into the really tiny ones, because we're seeing a lot of issues in the publishing world right now with the mainstream authors, with AI infiltration and stuff. And so self-pub is really where it's at now. And I want you to experience more authors out there in the world with self-pub. And if you roll a 6, you must include one of each of the above modifiers, depending on the prompt. You don't have to play this with, like, doing a prompt and rolling it, and then the entire prompt is disabled authors. You could do this per book, so you could do modifications per space in the book, or you can do the whole prompt. Like I said, this is customizable, baby. You can do whatever you want with it, okay? You could even change up what the numbers are and what they mean to you. I don't particularly care what you do with your reading, but if you want to diversify your reading, hopefully that's why you're here at HRCYED HQ. So gamify it. We're doing a gamified version, because if you know me, you know my live streams, I'm always rolling dice. So now you have to. You're welcome. Of course, there is the sign-up form down below. The submissions will go a little differently this year. We were overrun with how submissions went, because 2.0, I did not expect the sheer number of people signing up for it. I thought, oh, this is totally manageable with what we had for 1.0. 2.0 exploded. So in an effort to curb the craziness, submission forms will have email attachments to it, so it'll email you your responses, but we are not doing like responses for every single prompt like we did before. We're going to do check-in submission forms, so keep an eye on the socials, keep an eye on the Discord if you're in it, keep an eye on my TikToks and Instagrams. I will try to do my best to be like, hey, it's time to submit our check-ins for HRCYED. So that's how submissions are going to be done. If you're not in the Discord, link in the description. And of course, there is an FAQ for everything. Sometimes I forget what I've said in these videos and stuff, so please check the FAQ if you have any questions. I'll also try to put timestamps to everything here. So with that being said, let's get into it. We have our 25 prompts ready to rock and roll, and in true Q fashion, I am going to reveal the prompts randomly with my 25-sided die. Yes, I have a 25-sided die, and I rolled it a bunch of times to get the order of how we're going to reveal these prompts to you. Are you ready? Let's hope so. Before we get into the prompts, I do want to say that yes, there were several videos leading up to HRCYED with many a hint as to the prompts for this. I love seeing all of your guesses, and many of you have made your own bingo boards as predictions, and I fully expect each of you to do reaction videos to this, seeing if you got any correct. There were definitely some that were correct. There was definitely at least one I saw that was even in the correct space. So well done on picking up on all our hints. Now let's get into the prompts. So the first one we rolled was a number 9, and that is our cover styles. So this is all about picking different styles of cover. There's lots of different kinds. There's the illustrated styles, both with line art, some without line art. There's, an adaptation with people on the cover or just random people on the cover. There's symbol based, there's minimalist, there's maximalist, there's double exposure, portraits, landscapes, typographic, I can say words. All of these are different types of covers. So it is your job to read 4 different types of covers. That one's pretty simple. However, the only one that will not be accepted is, of course, AI covers. No AI in my HRCYED. No thank you. Move on. I don't care about any means of trying to justify an AI cover. It's not accepted here. So if we see a book that gets submitted with an AI cover, no, we didn't. It gets deleted. It's deleted from the submission forms. Try again. With that, sometimes it is hard to tell what is AI. Do your best to do your research. Some authors will say AI. Some artists will say they use AI. And if that's the case, that's a no-no. I do not encourage anyone to throw covers into AI checkers because, as we have learned, those actually feed into AI. Just do your due diligence. The easiest way I find it is to just check the copyright page, see if there's an artist credited, and then you can check on the socials or anything of that artist to make sure that they're not using AI. Cool? Cool. For the kids version of this square, this will be just a cover you like. This is cover choice. You see a cover and you're like, ooh, I like that cover. Choose that one. Just one book. That's it. Our second prompt we will be revealing today is, of course, number 2, and the one that most people picked up on, especially with my fake bingo board for April Fools. This was the one that was actually sort of correct. In the fake bingo board, I said you had to read a book with every single element in the periodic table of elements. We are doing periodic table of elements, but just 5 different elements in the title. Like we saw with Oscar's video, she showed you arsenic and adobo, but there are lots of different elements. Not all of them are going to be easily found. The ones I find that you'll be able to find, I actually pulled up a list here. We have things like oxygen, neon, aluminum, silicon, sulfur, chlorine, titanium, iron, cobalt, copper, arsenic, silver, gold, tin, platinum, radium, mercury, and lead, not the verb. If it's lead something, no. So those are probably the most likely you will find. I have definitely found titles with hydrogen, helium, lithium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, sodium, magnesium, argon, potassium, calcium, iodine, xenon, radon, bismuth, uranium, selenium, cadmium. I've found titles with those as well. So it is possible to do the more obscure ones, but easily silver, gold, copper, those are going to be very, very easy. Iron. So many iron titles out there. So I'm anticipating iron being the number 1 that we get. Iron, silver, and gold, probably. All right. And for our kids version, just your favorite element. Now, for the kids version, it does not have to be the periodic table of elements. You can also do earth, air, fire, water, light, darkness, spirit, whatever you want to consider an element. Because as I was a kid, I was super into like elementals and things like Sailor Moon and stuff. So for the kids version, favorite element. What do you like? Must be in the title, though. Our third prompt revealed is number 15, and this is another one that a lot of people did guess, I believe, and that is a rainbow of words. We've done cover colors 2 years in a row now. We're changing it up, and we're doing words in the title. So we're going to need books with red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, white, black, silver, gold. You hear me? Don't worry, you don't gotta do teal. That was so hilarious to me. The conversations around teal are great, because teal is like my iconic color. That's my color scheme for everything. So it was really funny seeing the debates about teal. Anyway, for the kids version, it is of course your favorite color, reduced to whatever, because if your favorite color is something super obscure, because as a child, I definitely was a super obscure child who liked fancy things, it can be a variation of that color, but again, in the title. Our next one is right next door with number 14, and that is our numerical titles. So similar with color words in titles, we are now looking for numbers in titles. However, manga, you cannot use volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. That's not part of the title. That's the volume numbers. Now, if the title itself had like One Day in Summer or whatever some of them are called, that's fine because 1 is in the title, just not the volume numbers, okay? None of those. But we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1 extra, any number, crazy number. For example, it could be 100 or 50, 99, any of those types of books, acceptable as your extra. Okay. Next up is one I'm super excited about because it's one of my favorite topics. If you know me, you know that I love meteorology. So space number 20 is reading 6 books featuring Mother Nature in the cover. And by Mother Nature, I mean acts of Mother Nature, extreme acts of Mother Nature. I'm talking tornadoes, fires, hurricanes, earthquakes, all those kinds of things that Mother Nature has created, volcanoes erupting, any of that is acceptable. They must be 6 different styles, but I love weather. I love seeing severe weather. I follow severe weather on the internet. I wanted to be a meteorologist for a really long time, and then I just didn't do it. But anyway, so they don't have to be extreme weather. I just like them that way. It can just feature rain. It can just feature snow. It can be sunny, but the sun must be on the cover in order for it to count as sunny. Okay. Fog. Fog is fine as well if it's a foggy, spooky title. Just any kind of weather affected by Mother Nature or acts of Mother Nature or the earth. That's why earthquakes count, but it's not necessarily like a weather system that's causing it. It's tectonic plates and stuff, but it counts because it's cool. All right. Awesome. For the kids version, it is find a book with your favorite kind of weather on the cover. Simple. Next up, space number 5, another one a lot of people were speculating about, and this is sort of what you were thinking, but also not, but it is choose your curriculum. Woo! This is creating your own curriculum. We have many people doing the curating your own curriculum, but this one is more like as if you're going back to school. And it doesn't matter what level of school. It could be high school, it could be elementary school, it could be college. But you're going to need 5 books. They do not have to be nonfiction that would relate to a subject in the school. So let's say, like me, you were a music girly and you read a book that features someone who is a singer or a dancer. That would count for your music credit, okay? You can read nonfiction if you want to make this a little bit more intense for you and treat it like you're in school, but it must be 5 different subjects and you get 2 free periods, okay? 2 free periods, meaning you don't have to read anything. You can relax. 5 books in total is what you got to submit for this one. So you can do things like math, any kind of science, and you can change up. If you're doing science, you can make it more like this is biology, this is earth science, this is physics, chemistry. You can do that. However, romance is not going to count for your chemistry, even if they have chemistry, unless they are chemists in the book, then it don't count. History, music, gym, and sports, you get your 1 sports thing. There you go. All you hockey romance. English or literature, and that's just not like read a book in English. It must surround like bookish things, writers, things like that. Home ec, art, foreign languages, that you could read a translated novel for foreign language, that's fine. Or featuring a book where the characters are bilingual and stuff like that. That's fine. Social studies as well. Any of those at all. 5 books, make your own curriculum. You're welcome. I don't know why I'm saying you're welcome all the time. For the kids version, it is just a book featuring your favorite subject in some way. You just tie it same way that you do for the adult version. It just has to have the vibe of the class, whatever your favorite class is. Next up, right next door to it, is spot number 4 with our Traipsing Throughout Regions. Last year in HRCYED, we visited all the continents. Now we're going to get a little bit more nitty-gritty and go into regions of the world. This can be both like geographical regions or cultural regions are also allowed, because there's a lot of speculation on it. For example, for like geographical, we have the Swana region, which is Southwest Asia, North Africa, Mediterranean, South Asia, Latin America, Western Europe, East Asia, Central Asia, the Caribbean. Those kinds of things are geographical regions. But then you have cultural ones. Like in the US, we have a lot of cultural regions. We have like the Bible Belt and good old Midwestern Minnesota, yeah, sure, don't you know, styles like that, the Pacific Northwest, stuff like that that are more cultural rather than, they're both geographical and cultural based. So that counts. For our kids version, all I want you to do is pick a book in a different country than where you live. All right, our next one is probably one of my favorite ones, but due to copyright infringement, I'm not going to sing the theme song, and we're going to call this one, I Must Endeavor to Acquire These Creatures, featuring many kinds of pocket monsters. We're just avoiding that. So I'm a big fan of Pokemon. I can say that I like Pokemon. That's not copyright infringement, but this is inspired by that. So you're going to read 5 different books that have the vibe of, if this book were a Pokemon, much like in Asura's video, this is the type it would be, and you need 5 different types. These are the types of Pokemon. We have Bug, Electric, Fire, Grass, Dark, Fairy, Flying, Normal, Dragon, Fighting, Ghost, Rock, Ground, Poison, Steel, Ice, Psychic, and Water. You can interpret this however you want to. It can be the vibe of the book. It can be a word in the title. It can be like the type of creature. So like if you're reading a fairy book, hey, there's fairies right there. If you're reading a spooky ghost book, there's a ghost one there. Does not matter. It's however you want to interpret it. You just have to justify it in the submission form. Justify your reading to me. I hope everyone gets when I'm being sarcastic on here. I know that sometimes it's not easy. For our kids version, it's the same thing. You just get to choose one. You choose one, you know, and just be like, this book is this pocket monster, and I will endeavor to acquire them. Our next one, I'm super excited about. Nobody got this one yet, and it's kind of impossible to hint about this one. But as many of you know, I used to live in Japan. Or if you didn't know, I used to live in Japan. I speak Japanese. One of my favorite little things in Japan is a game that we actually do apparently have in the US. I didn't know about it until I learned about it in Japan, but it is called Shiritori. Shiritori literally means take from the butt, essentially. So this is kind of a chain making prompt, and you're going to do this 5 times. You're going to take a book. Let's pretend we take Ember in the Ashes. Okay, let's say we're taking Ember in the Ashes. That book ends with the letter S. Now, your next book must start with the letter S. And let's say we have the book called Search for the Phoenix. Oh, that's a bad one to pick, but I'm going to pick it anyway, which is a book I wrote. It ends in X. You now must find a book that starts with X. And this is a title, Shiritori. It is not an author name one, so be careful what books you pick to tie into that. But you must make a chain of 5 books, so whatever you book for the first one, next one must be that. Now, you can, of course, change it up when things aren't working correctly, but it must, at the very end, make a complete chain of Shiritori. For our kids version, you just need to do this 1 time. So you need to make 1 chain of 2, basically. So whatever book you read, and you can read this book for another prompt, and then take the end of whatever book that is in another prompt and connect it this way. Next up, space number 19 is our food pyramid. With our food pyramid, you're going to have 5 books that must feature different kinds of food on the cover. Not each cover features 5 different kinds. Each title you read must have a different food on it. So with our current food pyramid, we've got proteins, dairy, grains, vegetables, fruits, healthy fats, sweets and desserts, oils. Also, you can use beverages. There's a lot of books out there with drinks on them, but you can only use 1 beverage. It can't be like, oh, this one's a martini and this one has a cup of tea on it. Nope, that's your 1 beverage. That's it. Okay? But it must be 5 different ones. And none of this, well, technically this is edible nonsense. It must be food for human consumption on a regular basis. Okay? No pictures of grass and being like, well, you can eat grass. Like, yes, you can, but it's not in your regular diet. Wheatgrass is the exception if you're one of those people who likes to do wheatgrass. But that's where I draw the line, okay? And for those questioning, what if it's like a cornfield or something, like it's not in food yet, yes, crops count. You can do crops, obviously an apple tree or something, that's fine. Not, oh, technically you could eat a bug, then you have to eat the bug. That's the rule I'm making. If you want to play it like, well, technically you can eat this, you got to submit a video to me of you actually eating it. There. And not having horrible health repercussions for doing so. Okay. For the kids version, find a book with your favorite food or a favorite food on the cover. For people like me who have a very specific favorite food, it may be hard to find. So just a food that you do enjoy on the cover. Our next one I'm very excited about is square number 25, and that is called Second Chances and Hidden Gems. This is where you're stepping back into the worlds you've abandoned in the past or things you normally wouldn't dabble in. The ways you can find books for second chances and hidden gems is ones that you've soft DNF'd before, time to pick them back up, or a hard DNF, time to pick it back up if you so choose to. You can do this by a random find where you don't know anything about the book. You could read 1-star reviews of something from somebody else and be like, all right, based on that 1-star review, I'm reading this. You could do a book that's recommended by someone who has very different tastes than your own. It could have a book that has less than 100 reviews on it, something you got from the little free libraries, or something with a really ugly cover that you would never pick up yourself. Okay? So any way you want to interpret a second chance or a hidden gem. Okay? They do not have to be gems, I would say. They don't have to be like, oh, this was a 5-star read, and even though I would never pick it up, the point is picking it up. Okay? For the kids version, all you need to read is a book that was suggested to you by someone else. That's it. And right next door is space number 24. A couple people did guess overall an idea about this, but not exactly what was required. And that is an anthology of authors. This one will require you to read 7 different books, one of which must be an anthology or a collection of stories by many authors. Depending on what they call it. But overall, a book featuring many, many short stories by multiple authors. Then you need to read a book by each of those authors up to 6. You must pick up an anthology that has at least 6 authors in it, and then read a book by each of those authors. Now, it can have an anthology that has many, many more, and you just pick 6 authors. That's fine as well. But you do need an anthology that has at least 6. So if it's an anthology with only like 3 authors, that's not going to count unless you want to read another anthology. But only one anthology is required in this, but then 6 different authors are required for the rest. Okay? But they must be tied to an anthology. For the kids version, you just need to read a book with more than one author. Next up is space 17. And this is another 6-book requirement, and that is entitled Biomes. Books feature all kinds of different landscapes and ecosystems, if you will. So you're going to read 6 different ones. Examples of this are mountains, deserts, swamps, a tropical rainforest, wetlands, grasslands, urban city settings, aquatic settings, tundras, savannas, woodlands, different types of forests like deciduous and conifer and boreals and all that jazz. Any kind of different landscape, again, ecosystem or something, just taking you for different places and different living requirements. I don't know what I'm saying. I am not a scientist of this nature. I'm not a scientist at all, but especially not of this. I just like different settings, okay? This is all about the settings of books, but I want them to be different things. You can't just read a bunch of suburban books. You can have one suburban book, and then you gotta travel somewhere else, okay? So 6 of those. For our kids version, however, I want you to read a book that reminds you of your own place where you live. So your own home. So if you do live in a suburban area, read a book with a suburban family. If you live in an urban situation, if you're in a major city, read a book in a major city. If you live out in the middle of nowhere in the countryside or something, read a book featuring the countryside. Cool. Moving on to space number 11. This is called Characters to Authors. Similar to Shiritori, we are connecting a book's innards to its outers. That's not a word. So basically what you're going to do is read a book, look at the main character's name, or a major character I will allow as well, but mostly main character. If there's multiple POVs, one of those main characters. Find an author with that same name. I will accept variant spellings, but it must be the same name, like pronounced the same way. Then from that book that you're reading, whatever the character's name in that, do it again. You're going to do this one only 3 times, a little less intense. I will also allow you to just connect, like you've read 3 different books and you found 3 authors that have those names. You don't have to fully chain it. It's more fun to chain it, in my opinion, but connect it some way. A character then becomes an author, essentially. Character name becomes the author name. Cool, cool. No, you cannot do a main character's name and then like their main character's name is Parker, but it's then the last name of the author is Parker. No, it must be first name. First name to first name only. Okay. For our kids version, find a book where the author shares your initials. It can be just your first and last initial. It can, if you want to go really big and bold, a first, middle, and last, but just sharing a first and last initial. I'm very excited about this space. Space number 7 is called Bookception. So what we want to do is you're reading a book and that character's reading a book that exists in the real world. You go read that book too. And that is what I mean by Bookception. You only have to do this one time. You're reading a book, the characters mention a book in it, you read that book. Caveat, please no HP. Okay? Different references only. But that's it. Pretty simple. For our kids version, it does not have to be in a book. It can be in a TV show or a movie that you saw a character reading a book. Read the book the character was reading. There you go. Teenagers, if you read or if you watched the Korean Boys Over Flowers, I know that the Domyoji character, I forget what his name is in Korean, he's reading Legend by Marie Lu in it. I think he's reading the sequel, actually. I think he's reading Champion in it. But I remember seeing that and going, ah! And right next door to that prompt is prompt number 6, a road trip prompt. Lots of books are set predominantly in our publishing world right now, in America at the very least, predominantly they are set in New York and California, and it drives me insane. So I want you to take a road trip through the US or the country of your choosing, and read books set in states, provinces, prefectures, etc., that are not your major ones. So if you're reading from the US, you're reading from books that are not set in California or New York. They are set in Idaho and Tennessee and Wyoming and Minnesota and Arizona and stuff like that, okay? 5 different states if you're in the US. Same with like if you're reading in books that are in the UK, just nothing that is set, I would say, like in London. You know, it's like our New York City, it's set in London. Go somewhere else. Somewhere else. If you're doing France, it's not Paris. Now, I'm so sorry, I don't actually know how those countries are divided up. I am a dumb American and I don't know these things. But I know like Canada has like British Columbia and stuff. I don't know what you would consider your most popular, maybe Vancouver, maybe Quebec. Like I would say don't read books set there, but read other ones like in Edmonton or Winnipeg, stuff like that. For our kids version, please read a book in a state or a city or somewhere that you want to go to, but have never been. Okay? For the kids version, they are not blocked by major cities like New York or LA or Paris or London. You're not blocked by it. It's just where you want to go. Wherever you want to go visit. Pick one. Next up is space number 22, and this is called Backlist Authors. We all have our favorite authors that we're always like, man, I need to read more from said author. Now's your opportunity to do so. You're going to read either 5 books from one author that you still need to read. Again, no rereads unless they're 5 years or older. Or 5 books from many authors that you have been meaning to read more of. You can also divvy it up, being like, okay, well, I only have 2 books I haven't read from this author. I'll do those, and then 3 more from another author, or 212, or 2111, or whatever you want to do. Break it up, however, as long as they are a backlist author for you. Again, just no rereads unless 5 years or older. If you soft DNF'd the book, that is fine. If it's within the 5-year period and you like last year, you're like, I'm going to soft DNF this one, you can pick that up again for this. For our kids version, all you need to do is read a book from an author you recognize. You may have read from them before, or maybe not, and you just know about them, you've heard about them. Again, no JK. Read them. 1 book from them. This next one I'm very excited about is in HRCYED 2.0, we introduced the concept of secret prompts. And they're back, baby. So in this space, we have what is now called the not so secret prompts. You're going to do them all again to an extent. Some of them were prompts that were like, oh, read as many of these types of books as you can. You only have to do 1 of it this time. So if you missed out on our secret prompts from 2.0, you get to participate anyway. So those prompts were read a book outside, a whole book outside, a pun in the title, a book you missed out on in your childhood, or you were an adult and wish you had been a child when this book came out. Again, no Harry Potter. A book with a color in the title that is featured in Joseph's coat from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. For those who don't know what those colors are, it was red and yellow and green and brown and scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and fawn, lilac and gold and chocolate and mauve and cream and crimson and silver and rose and azure and lemon and russet and gray and purple and white and pink and orange and blue. Okay? Then you're going to doom scroll your read. A last name is a first name, a craft on the cover or audiobook while crafting, a first and last name in the title, a book from the I'll get around to it later tag. A title is the exact same as another title out there. A cover that features motion, and your most recent acquisition. You can do this at any point in the readathon. It doesn't have to be right before you start HRCYED. Just whenever it happens, this is your most recent acquisition. Counts for that. For our kids version, this is just to read a book outside. Just do that first one. Unless you want to choose. If you listen to all of these and you want to do one of the other prompts in the not so secret prompts anymore, you can do that. But the official one is just to read outside. Square number 13, our center square, is called the HRCYED Mashup. Alrighty, so we did I Miss HRCYED 1 in HRCYED 2. Now you get to pick 2 prompts from HRCYED 1 and HRCYED 2 and mash them together. So for example, you could do the Rainbow Challenge plus the Queer Challenge. You could do the 500-page book in a day with new releases. You could mash things up. The only things I'm saying you can't do is mashing up like the same prompts. So we had both a new releases prompt in both versions. You can't just say, oh, new releases again from 1 and 2. You have to do something different. Same with like the colors or the queer rainbow. You can't say, oh, version 1 and version 2, because version 2 just added onto version 1. So they must be 2 very different prompts that you are mashing together. Congratulations. But you only have to do 5 books. So you don't have to do the entirety of these prompts. So like if you do the A to Z challenge, that's a lot of books. So you only have to use that as your base and then something else. You can go the whole 9 yards and do the full prompts that way. You are only required to do at least 5. And for our kids version, you can mix 2 prompts on this year's bingo board. So you can take any of the 2 prompts you've already had to do and do a book that features both of those prompts from this current bingo board. If you want to go nuts and go for the old ones, you can, but your requirement is for this year. The next prompt I am prefacing with, I am not a zoologist. We are going to be reading about aminos because I love me some aminos. I work as a dog trainer and I love to work with animals. I actually work in a lot of areas in the store where I get to handle lots of different animals now. I love playing with the bearded dragons and the birdies. But we're going to have 5 different animals based on like animal families in like the taxonomic kingdom. I don't remember high school biology, okay? But things like it's a canine, it's a rodent, arachnids, primates, crustaceans, pachyderms, any of those kinds of things. They just must be 5 different, I believe it's the family when it's done in the whole, like, it's the kingdom, and then it's this, and then it's this, and I'm like, I don't remember it all. Again, I am not a zoologist. And I'm so sorry if I've upset any zoologist by getting any of that information wrong, but that's the essence, okay? For the kids version, have a book that features your favorite animal on the cover. All right, there were many a fear that we were bringing back the adaptations challenge. And in a way I am. It's called Remix. So this version is just 5 different ways that a story we know, like a classic of some sort, has been retold in a variety of ways. So this could be things that's like, oh, it's a gender bent version of something, a villain POV, or it's like expanding on a side character's story, or like deviating from the original plot. After Happy Ever Afters, a same story but alternate universe, same story but with magic this time, or a book that came from fan fiction but it must be confirmed came from fan fiction. And again, anything HP related is we're not doing it. I'm so sorry for those who wanted to read things like Alchemized or something. Nope. Sorry. It's my readathon, and I don't want to see any of that, all right? That is my one thing I just don't want to see in my readathon. I appreciate it if you can respect it. For our kids version, you can either read a retelling or a book that features a famous character. So for example, if you've heard of the series called Pages & Co., it's Tilly and the Book Wanderers. The first book features Anne of Green Gables and I believe Alice in Wonderland that meet our main character. So if our characters are interacting with famous characters like Peter Pan or something like that, that's fine. It doesn't have to be a retelling, but it does have to feature characters that are known throughout the world. All right, we are finally getting to our number 1 space. This was another very big speculated one, and this is called Choose Your Party. I enjoy the concept of D&D. I do not really play it all that much, but boy do I like hearing about D&D. And of course, I love dice and things. This does not force you to play with any dice. What we're going to do is, again, reading 5 books that you can tie to a D&D class. So many of the classes are things like barbarians, bards, clerics, druids, fighters, monks, paladins, rangers, rogues, sorcerers, warlocks, wizards. Those are 3 different things. I put it in the description of how they're differentiated, but you can either read books that feature like, okay, this character identifies as a bard. There you go. Or you're reading a book featuring a musician or something, or an author or something. Those would fit into the bard category in D&D. Lots of different things. I have some comparisons to you. This is very much open to interpretation, but you're building your own adventuring party, and you have to have 5 different ones. So you can't do 2 bards. That's 2 divas in one party. That ain't gonna fly. All right. So you need 5 different classes in your party. For the kids version, I want you to read a book that features a profession that you want when you grow up or when you graduate. Okay? A job you'd like to do. Doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm definitely going to be this, but just something like, that would be really cool to be. I want to be that. Like me. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a meteorologist, so I'd read a book featuring storm chasers. That's what I'd do. In spot number 10, we are now doing titular counting. What we mean by this is we're counting words in the title. So you need a 1-word title, and a 2-word title, and a 3-word title, and a 4-word title, and you're going all the way up to 10. That's it. A fairly simple one that I think, you don't have to think too hard about what book you're going to read for that one. You just got to start counting, seeing how many words are in the title. I think as you get more and more, it gets a little harder, but I believe in you. You can do it. For our kids version, you're going to find a book that has the same amount of words as letters in your name, okay? So this, I'm really sorry for those of you who have very long names. You can also do it by your nickname. So for me, like, my name is Stephanie, and that is 9 letters in it. I would have to have a 9-word title. But I also go by Teffy sometimes, and that's 5. So there you go. It can be whatever you want for that one, but you must match the number of letters to the words in the title. Our next space is space number 3. A few people did guess this one, and that is familial terms. So I'm looking for terms you would find in your families. So father, mother, brother, sister, daughter, son, nephew, niece, uncle, aunt, grandmother, grandfather, child is fine as well. 5 different terms in titles. That's it. So yes, you can use step siblings, stepbrother, stepsister, stepmother, stepfather. That is also fine. They're still family. Just things like my best friend, that doesn't count. Even if you consider your best friend to be family, that is not what I'm looking for. Thank you. The kids version, you just need to do you in your family. So find a title that features you and where you're placed within your family, whatever term you want to use. Okay. And finally, I'm actually really, really happy that this one came up last because it is our final purple prompt this year. If you did notice, there's only 5 purple prompts, but those are all based on like you in general. It's choose your things. And this one is called It's Your Birthday. Let's celebrate you. So we're going to read 7 books because my birthday's the 7th. You're going to read a book that features in some way your birthstone. Another one that was published in your birth month. Don't worry, it does not have to be your birth year. I'm not doing that to you again. I'm not doing that to me again. Okay? A book that features your zodiac sign. A book that is featured your Chinese zodiac sign. Your birth flower, your birth tree, and the meaning of your name in some way. This can be based on vibes. This can be featured on the cover. This can be a word in the title. However it works for you, do so. So for myself, I'm a July baby, which means I have 2 different birthstones. Most people do. I have a ruby or I have a moonstone. I can do either of those. Obviously, July publications. I'm a Cancer, so crabs. I need a book with crabs on the title. I'm unfortunately a rabbit in my Chinese zodiac. Somehow I will do that. My birth flower, I actually need to look up. I think there's 2 for everybody as well. I think larkspur is one of mine, but I don't remember. And same with my birth tree. I gotta look it up. And then the meaning of my name is crowned one. So I need a crown in the title or a crown on the cover or something like that. Okay? And for the kids version, you just need to do an element of your birthday. So you could choose any of those versions there, any of those mini prompts in here, and choose it for yours or some other aspect that you connect with your birthday. That's for the kids version. And that's our prompts. Are you excited? Did I do okay? I need validation that these are good prompts. Unfortunately, my microphone died during all of that at the very end there. So, woo! Sorry if the audio quality is different, but it died and needs to charge. And I don't have a backup for it because it's the actual receiver part that died and not the microphone itself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed all of those prompts. We have a few other things to talk about. We do have spreadsheets on my Ko-fi page right now. They are all for free. We have 3 versions. We have a kids version spreadsheet. We have a regular one that is like very similar to what we did with 2.0, where every tab was its own prompt that then connected to the big one. And then we have an all-in-one. And where it's like, instead of all those tabs, because it was overwhelming for some people, we have just a nice space where every prompt is on the one page and you can just type in the title. I will go over those in another video or live stream going through everything that way. So stay tuned for all of that goodiness. But for now, you can get them off of my Ko-fi for free. Or if you want to donate, whatever you want to do, it's free for you to use. Okay? Okay. The link will make you make a copy. So I should not be seeing anyone trying to request access to the spreadsheet. Just make a copy into your drive and then you're fine. So sometimes I get these like, oh, requesting edit access. Like, no, you should not have the original copy of it. So make a copy. It should prompt you immediately to do that. Okay. But of course, we also, as last year, we have some new stickers for you. We have 2 different logo stickers. We have a circular space one here. They're being shipped to me right now. And then we have the actual official HRCYED logo in a little rectangle guy right there. And we have bookmarks for both the kids version and the regular version. But the most exciting thing I have for you, the most exciting thing that we've created this year for y'all is journal! We have the official journal. Basically everything that I just talked about in this video is in this little book. And it has a little places. So you have all the rules in here. You have the official bingo board. And like you can do this whenever you want. So our official start date is of course July 7th, my birthday, as always. And it ends July 6th of the following year. However, many people want to do it whenever they want. So you just put your start date and your finish date right there. And then you have the prompts. So there's the D&D prompt there, the choose your own. And then you have a little planning page here. And you can either print copies of book covers and stick them in, or you can draw them, or you can write them in, whatever you want to do. Every single prompt is in there. And there's some extra blank pages in the back for you to do whatever you want, or for things that might occur during 3.0. I don't know. You never know. But not only do we have this beautiful paperback version, we've got hardcover versions. I'm so sorry. These are a little bit more expensive because printing in color and printing in hardcover are more expensive. So for sale, these will be $15. The hardcovers will be $30, unfortunately, just because the printing cost is so drastically different for hardcover. But I know some people are like, no, I only want hardcovers. It's there. I would encourage you, for wherever you're living and for like shipping costs and printing costs and everything, just get it directly off of Amazon. Unfortunately, I normally don't encourage that, but it's a lot for me to ship it to me and then ship it to you. It's going to cost a lot more in the long run. The paperback's a lot easier for me to print and ship to myself and then send them out. So these are all available on my Ko-fi for pre-order right now, as I kind of gauge how many people actually want these. And then I will send them out to you directly from my Ko-fi, or if you just can't wait, you can just get them directly off of Amazon. Just know that the Zon's taking a bunch more of the money that way. But we have them for you to use. For the kids version, I don't have a full journal just because their version is a lot smaller, but we might have printables that you can then, if you have kids who want to participate, they can make their own journal, and that's like another extra fun craft that they can listen to an audiobook while doing. Amazing. Anyway, so we have these. I'm very excited about this. This took a long time to design and create. Big shout out to my mod, Michelle, did a lot of work helping me make these a lot more prettier, because that's also correct English. But yeah, yee, I'm so excited about it. So we have that now, and we have the stickers, and we have the bookmarks. Other merch may be coming. Merch is hard for me to deal with because it's very complicated, and I don't really like the print-on-demand places like Redbubble, just because I don't find their stuff to be super quality, in my opinion, especially because a lot of people wanted like a HRCYED shirt. I just don't like the quality of those shirts, you know, or the design of those shirts. So I will continue to look forward. If anybody has suggestions for places that make good quality shirts and things like that, or other merch that you guys are desiring, put them in the comments. Help a girl out. Help me research what are going to be the best, most quality ones for you that are going to be beneficial for everyone all around. But yeah, that's what we have, and I'm very excited, and I hope you're excited. But officially, we start July 7th. You can start anytime you want to. Like I said, the theme is customizable. Do what you want with it, but the official run is always the year long, July 7th through to July 6th. Okay? I hope to see you signed up and joining us for the chaos. And I will see you again for a FAQ live stream coming up on this date here, because I'm negotiating with my boss on my day job about a day I can have off to do said live stream right in this box that I'm making with my hands. All right. And if you have any questions for that live stream, but you cannot make the live stream, shoot them down here. I will answer them here, tippity-typity-wise, and then I will also answer them in the live stream because more than one person probably has that same question. So ask away and all that jazz. And yeah, welcome to 3.0, everybody. Get ready!